longer spend it. We will just give it, put it in our endowment fund, in our centennial endowment fund. Effectively, we are ending the subsidy not in 2007, but at the end of 2004. So that starting January 1, 2005, effectively we are financially autonomous. And that was the resolution that the Executive Council came out. Remember, that was December 4, 2004. You know, after the meeting, we wouldn't even go back to Manila because there was then a typhoon at the time, if you remember, Bishop. And so the next day, we couldn't even travel back to our places because of the typhoon. And we were saying, what is this? Maybe saying that that we made a very bad decision here, you know, the decision that we made. And so we went to 2005, started January 1, 2005. And what subsequently happened is what we are always saying, that what subsequently happened actually in 2005 was almost miraculous. We would like to believe that it was a miracle. You know? Because what happened? You know, we said we'll no longer use this for operations. We'll no longer spend this amount. Effectively, we are on our own. We are on our own. Let's use our local resources to support ourselves. 2005, the fears that deficits would be much bigger, the fears that salaries would again be delayed, the fears that institutions would be closed. You know, some of us belong to certain institutions here. And the fears that those institutions will surely close because of what we did. All those things proved to be unfounded because we ended 2005, you know, and this is the first miracle. For the first time in almost 15 years of annual budget deficit, every year we were in deficit. But for the first time in almost 15 years, we ended the year with a budget surplus. We ended the year with a surplus of 3 million pesos. No, first miracle. 15 years we were always having this deficit. Suddenly when we said that we are on our own, we had a surplus, not just of 100,000, 202,000 pesos, but 3 million pesos surplus. Isn't that a miracle? So, again, gives us a lesson that, you know, what happened in all these almost 15 years, we're almost in deficit, made us realize that if you're relying on something that's coming from outside, it will actually never be enough. That's why you will always be in deficit. That's number one. Okay, so that's first miracle. The second miracle is like this. At the time when we thought that what we could raise, the only money that we have, that we can raise, is barely enough to pay for our salaries, to pay for what we call at the time survival budget. Just to get by, just to pay for salaries. We don't have anything for other things anymore. At the time when we thought that we could only raise what was then referred to as survival budget, that was the time when we actually built not only the most number, but in fact the most beautiful churches in any 3-year history in our church. The year from 2005 to 2007, actually, 3 years period, that was the time when we built, again, not only the most number, but the most beautiful churches in the Episcopal Church in the Philippines. Again, isn't that a miracle? When we thought that we don't have money for anything else, we were able to build these beautiful churches. And finally, the third miracle is that at the time when we thought that, you know, we don't have money anymore, nobody wants to become a priest anymore, nobody wants to work in the church anymore. But also, that 3-year period from 2005 to 2007, that was the time when we had the most number of enrollees at our seminary. Just when we thought that nobody would want to be a priest anymore, because we're going to get money to pay for the salaries. And yet, it was a time when we had the most number of seminarians there enrolled at our seminary. So again, it's miraculous. And so, those were the things that happened, and we asked ourselves, what happened? What happened during the time? It was almost miraculous, and we rejoiced in it, and we tried to ask the question, what happened? You know, for us Filipinos, we have a fondness for the game of what? Basketball. Right? We have a fondness for the game of basketball, which we got from you, from America. You know, as some of the people here, Father Bayani, Father Ray, and Brett, they were the best players, basketball players who they were at the seminary. Anyway, we have the fondness for the game of basketball that's almost fanatical. Now, during my time, I even witnessed 2 old women, very old women, fighting because of Crispa Toyota games. Back in this day. So we love that game. And for us who understand and love the game, the most exciting part, the best part of the game, the most exciting part happens at what point? That's right. At the last 2 minutes. The most exciting part of a basketball game happens at the last 2 minutes. Why? Because it is at the time when the best in the team comes out. You know, we have seen a lot of games where a team is down by seemingly insurmountable odds, way, way down below. But at the last 2 minutes, they suddenly find a surge of energy. And brilliance, that at the end of the buzzer, they actually win the game. You know, so that's the excitement of the last 2 minutes. I think that's what happened to us. 2005 to 2007, we suddenly found ourselves at the last 2 minutes, and it brought a surge of energy. It brought a surge of brilliance and the best in our people, so that at the end of 2007, we were okay. What we thought was going to be disastrous actually ended to be much, much more beneficial to us. And so at the sound of the buzzer, we won the game. We say that we won the game. And this is where ABCD comes in. Because it was at the time that we finally realized that it is only when you start looking at yourself, it is only when you stop looking at others that you start looking into yourself. And it's only when you start looking into yourself that you appreciate what you have and understand also what you can do with what you have. That's what happened to us at the last 2 minutes. And so we finally realized what we can actually achieve as a community. And part of the story there was the putting up of our Centennial Endowment Fund. We set up a Centennial Endowment Fund. It was actually a joint undertaking between our 2 churches. It was set up in 2001. That's why it's called Centennial Endowment Fund, because it was set up in our centennial year, 2001. So during the first years, actually, nothing much was coming in to the fund, Centennial Endowment Fund. But it was at the last 2 minutes. It was at the 3-year period from 2005 to 2007 that the congregations finally found a surge of enthusiasm to give to the fund. So that by the end of 2007, we were able to raise 136 million pesos from among ourselves, locally and 12.5 million from the other church. Excuse me. And therein lies the difference. Therein lies the difference between what we have been doing in the past and what we have done during the time. If you remember, I mentioned about the 5-year plan, the 10-year plan that failed. Why did it fail? 10-year plan, we were expecting to raise 272 million. Why did it fail? It failed because we relied on others to put up the fund. We relied on the mother church to put up the fund. We relied on partner agencies, ERD, the presiding bishop's fund at the time. We relied on a number of other external agencies to contribute and put up the fund. This is the difference here, because in the Centennial Endowment Fund, the big part of it came from us, ABCD in practice. So part of the story that for how we became autonomous is because of the raising of this fund, which is now one of the biggest sources of our annual budget. And so also, part of looking into yourself is looking into your capacities, looking into what you actually have. And part of that is looking into everything that we have, including our schools, our hospitals. This used to be service institutions for charity. The schools and hospitals, they said, well, we are into medical care, we're into education. But part of the time, the year, is to look at this as resources for fiscal sustainability. So that St. Luke's Medical Center, for example, a world-class medical facility in our country, used to concentrate in providing medical care. For many years it was saying, we are doing a service to the church. We are spending about 130 million pesos every year in charity, to allow poor people to come to the hospital. So we're doing our job. But for the past 3 years, or those 3 years that we were going into financial autonomy, St. Luke's became a very big resource. It actually built most of those beautiful churches that we have seen earlier. So that was a big change. And we were able to do that again because we look into ourselves and we realize that we have so many things. We have so many gifts and we have so many resources. We just need to mobilize these resources so that we can become, achieve the goals that we have set for ourselves. And also, we have other lives, we have other resources, and we went into a strategic partnership like this one. It's a new project that we're having with Brent International School. So all these things we look into and then started to mobilize them for financial self-reliance, and that explained again the success that we were able to do in 2007. But again, of course, our most valuable resource would be our people in our communities. The people that the church seeks to serve. Those of you who have gone to our country, this is a quotation from we have a rich and beautiful country. Unfortunately, many people in our country are poor. And according to the former Chief Justice, Renato Puro, Chief Justice for Supreme Court, many Filipinos are poor because the country's wealth has always been controlled by a few families. In other words, there's so much resources, but those resources are concentrated in a narrow sector of the population. And so part of the mission of the church is to work in order that, of course, part of our mission is to transform unjust structures of society. And so part of our program would be on advocacy and empowerment. And we have a big community development program there that seeks to empower people to become subjects or agents for social change and development. And we have our development program that is heavily funded by external partners, but we have a program where we want to transform these communities from receivers into givers, so that those communities who have been beneficiaries of certain development projects would at some point also become givers. Givers share what they have, share the blessings of the development that they have achieved. And again, that cannot be done. We have a number of communities now that are ready, communities that have become beneficiaries of development projects, but which are now ready to share what they have. They're ready to share what they have. And that was done, that can only be done because we made a paradigm shift in our development program, and which is now what we refer to as ABCD, asset-based community development. And most of us were present at this workshop this morning. We talk about ABCD. And finally, there's no, for the past few years that we have ventured into ABCD, no community has given us, no community has yet to give us the shock of our lives. I mean, it's shocking in a very, very positive and pleasant way. Shocking in a very positive and pleasant way. This community has given that to us. And that community is Barangay Malaria, which is an urban poor community in the city of Caloocan.
We have about 5 more minutes if you need to use the space, and then we'll have to get the room ready for the reception.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Okay, so this is an urban poor community in the city of Caloocan. Again, it's a slum community. We go into ABCD, and as you know, part of ABCD is mapping what resources do communities have, looking into what communities have by way of resources. You go to a lot of our rural communities and they say, there are the mountains, there are the rivers, we have land, we have this and this. They will come up with a long list of resources. You go to Barangay Malaria, you don't have that. Slum communities and urban poor community. You don't have those mountains, you don't have those things. The only thing that you find there are people who don't have anything to do. From a needs-based approach, that's a big problem. It's a big problem. You have only 2%, people in the barangay, only 2% of adults are regularly employed. So 98% they don't have any regular job. So you look into that from a needs-based approach, and you see a big problem of unemployment. But you look at it from ABCD approach, and you see that the biggest resource there is idle labor. Our seminarians go there and hold a Bible study. I tell them, where in the world can you do a Bible study at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and you find a lot of people attending? That's a resource. And because there are people there. So you have the idle labor there of many people. Okay, so again, we discovered that a lot of them are unemployed because they used to work in a garments factory, which has closed, and so they don't have work anymore. But they have the gift, they have the resource, they have the skill. A lot of the women there are skilled in sewing. So we work with them, and they said, we'll set up a project, a sewing project, because many of us have that skill. And so they started a sewing project. They come to us and say, let's work together, set up a sewing project. This is the first shot, the positive shot. This is an urban poor community, a slum community came to us and said, we need 130,000 pesos for the sewing project. We will get that to you as a loan. It's a loan. We are going to pay it back to you. Never in our communities can we expect that to happen. We work in the development program, and our communities would say, give us the money. give it to us as a grant. These people, slum community, no work, no other resource, they come to us and say, give us 130,000, we'll pay it back. So, first lesson in ABCD, because the most important part is the local resource, is the asset, is the skill. Then external resource becomes secondary. And so, they wouldn't want that to diminish the importance of the primary resource, which is their skill and what they have. So we'll get to you as a loan. So that was taken as a loan. At the synod, we asked them to do synod, our church synod last May. We asked them to sue the synod banks, prepare the synod banks for us. They did that. We paid them 5,000 pesos for labor. The cost of the labor, we paid them 5,000 pesos. The next day, they come to us with an envelope containing 500 pesos, 10% of 5,000 pesos. What's this money for? We asked them, they say, that's our Thanksgiving offering. Slum community, they give to us 10%. You can never expect that in most of our traditional Episcopal communities. Never expect that. But here's a slum community, they give that to us 10%. It's a shock, the second shock of our lives. They tell us, this is our offering. Second lesson in ABCD is that if your capacity is recognized, if your gift is acknowledged, and therefore you are able to produce a fruit, you are not only able to share, but you are also very happy to share what you have, to offer what you have. That's what these people did. That's ABCD, and again, that's our experience. We have a new vision now, which is Vision 2018. We want all our congregations to become parishes by 2018. That would mean, for the past 106 years, up until 2007, 106 years, we only built 32 full-fledged parishes. 32 full-fledged parishes. In 10 years, from 2008 to 2018, we are expecting to build 156 new full-fledged parishes. What are we saying here? We are saying that in 10 years' time, we would be building almost 4 times what we were able to do in 106 years. People say that's impossible. That's impossible. But we have been in that road before. We know what impossible means. And because of our experience, because of what we did, we don't think that that's impossible. Again, with ABCD, we think that we're able to do it. And again, thank you very much. There's some more stories, but our time's up. Thank you very much. Hope that